Hello everyone, and welcome back to more Umineko When They Cry. So in the last video, Ava and Natsuhi had a bit of a cat fight, and it was awesome. Ava is absolutely insane, and I know I want to dislike her because she's just horrible to everyone, but I can't. I love her so much. But anyway, I think we're back with the kids now, and because they were obviously told to leave the meeting and go play, so we're going to see what they're up to, I guess. We crossed the hall again on our way to the entrance. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. However, spotted is probably not the best word to describe that experience. Yeah, from what I understand, it takes up most of the hallway, so it was more like our eyes were inexorably drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with their sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who viewed it stand rooted to the spot. Back when he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him had been Maria. Oh, that reminds me actually, because people had requested it, or I don't know if they actually wanted to see it, but we're going to go ahead and look at the tips, because there's some interesting little tidbits that we don't know about just yet. That was fine. Like, for example, Maria is very interested in things concerning the occult and black magic. Thanks to her excellent powers of memorization, she knows all kinds of obscure trivia. The two that I can remember pretty clearly was also Jessica as well. She was born with weak bronchi and is sometimes assailed by sudden asthma attacks. We haven't seen obviously any incidents of that yet, but it's interesting to know. I guess it might come into play in the future. And also, Shannon and Canon are not their actual names, it looks like. They're just pseudonyms that were given to the servants. So it's not actually, Shannon's not actually her real name, which is interesting to note. Anyway, I just thought I would look at those few things. I'll look through it again and see if there's anything else that I was interested in. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I just want to get on with the story. But there were just some interesting little things that I remembered. Therefore, when Battler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt that Battler didn't have faith in her. Of course, that wasn't what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on a plate hanging below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove that she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate. When he patted Maria's head and apologised, she seemed to accept it, sticking out her chest and proudly ooh-ooing. She's such a cutie, Maria. She's definitely one of my faves. The plate did have the title of the portrait written on it, but it was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title was what appeared to be a long epitaph. If you just skimmed over it, several unnerving words would jump out at you. Also, they have hidden gold. Interesting, so I guess the family will be wanting to find that.
家督と黄金のすべてを譲るという意味ではないかと、もっぱらささやかれてるよ。
So why is everyone having arguments and not taking part in this weird scavenger hunt thing?
さてな、10トンの金塊なんてね。私はちょいと眉唾だけどな。
しかしよ、こんな碑文を読んじまうとマジかなって気になっちまうな。
I think I already explained grandfather's upbringing. But let me also mention the Ushiromiya family legend of the gold. Grandfather succeeded the Ushiromiya family after it was destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake. And by successfully riding the stormy seas after the war, he managed to accumulate great wealth. That much of the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part begins. Part of it involves grandfather's black magic obsession, so its credibility is extremely low, but, well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it. After the war, grandfather correctly predicted what the future would hold and won in a huge gamble, accumulating a vast store of wealth. But there's a mysterious legend about how he gained his initial funding. Grandfather came from a branch family and had no connections in the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, he supposedly started as a nameless person who hadn't yet gained anyone's trust. It takes trust to gather money. There's no way anyone would lend money to someone they didn't trust. How did grandfather, who had no reputation at all, manage to obtain his first vast chunk of funds? Well, I'm gonna place my money on the witch. When asked that question, grandfather supposedly answered like this. On a certain day, I encountered the golden witch Beatrice. Grandfather then went on and on about his continuing research into alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great magician. And the entity summoned as the result of the demon calling ceremony was the golden witch Beatrice. He then apparently made a contract by which he would receive fortune and honour in exchange for his own soul. Oh, so she's actually a demon. That's very interesting. The witch then granted grandfather 10 tons of gold. Grandfather used this gold as a collateral to prepare a vast quantity of funds, which he then used to multiply his wealth many times over and over and revive the Ushiromiya family. But it seems like Beatrice doesn't just want his soul, at least in my opinion. Well, at least I'm guessing what this epitaph is hinting at. It seems this story is so old that even our parents were told it when they were still children. So back when our parents were young, they explored this island in all sorts of ways, believing that the gold grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was the danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, grandmother began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was forbidden.
そんな話があったな。俺たちも小さい頃、親からその話を聞かされて、宝探しと称して島中あちこちうろうろして、森で迷ってワンワン泣いて、しお兄さんに見つけてもらって、親にめちゃくちゃ怒られたんじゃなかったっけ？懐かしいぜ。
バカだったよな。だってよ、じいさまはその資本金で儲けた挙句でこの島を買うんだぜ。この島に来る前から黄金を持ってたってことになるじゃねえか。この島にあるわけがないぜ。
そうとも限らないよ。その黄金が元からこの島に隠されていて、それを確実に自分のものにするためにこの島を丸々買い取ったとかね。何しろ10トンもあるんだもん。安全な場所に移すより隠し場所そのものを確保する方が現実的だよ。
Yeah, it makes sense. He wouldn't want someone to just stumble on it and take it, I guess.
この碑文を書かせたのは2年前。それもじいさま自身ってなると、 なるほど。黄金伝説も信憑性が増してくるじゃねえか。じい様が後宮家復興の資本金にしたという魔女に授けられた黄金が10トン。そいつがどこかに今も眠っていて、じい様はこの謎を解けたやつに全部を譲ろうって、そういうつもりなのかもしれねえ。へえ、じい様らしいセンスというか、なんというか。
It does seem like a very odd thing to do, to hide gold and then have people go on some weird hunt for it.
マジならなんとも景気のいい話だぜ。
The epitaph carved into the plate was very mysterious, with something like a poem or a song written on it. That text was incredibly disturbing, filled with the signs of grandfather's black magic hobby, and its contents were in truly bad taste. But it could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, might lead to the hidden gold.
そういうつもりなのかどうか、おじい様の胸中は想像もつかないけどね。一つ言えるのは、このうさんくさい碑文をおじい様は一族全員に告示するかのようにここに掲示したこと。そして黄金の存在はほのめかしながらも、未だにその隠し場所について一切触れないこと。そこから親たちが想像を膨らませて、おじい様の知恵比べに違いないって言い出した。
I'd love it if this was just Kinzo's way of messing with everyone.
欲の皮が突っ張ってるうちの親父あたりだろうぜ。こんな弱いことを真に受けてるなんてよ。じい様の黒魔術趣味はバカにしてるくせに、この隠し黄金の話だけは信じてやがる。調子のいい話さ。
確かに現実的な話じゃないよね。当時無名で何のコネクションもなかったおじい様に無償で莫大な金塊を融資する人物なんているわけがない。それがいたからこそ、おじい様はそのスポンサーを魔女と呼んだというなら考えられ。
でもよ、10トンだぜ、10トン。一体現金に直したらいくらくらいになるんだ？っていうか、とんでもない量になるはずだぜ。
とんでもない量だよ。人類が有史以来発掘した黄金はせいぜい10万トンって言われてる。人類の歴史が手にした黄金の1万分の1を個人が手にしてるっていうのはとてつもないことだよ。
I never thought about it that way, but that is definitely a vast amount of wealth. 1/10,000th. That is pretty insane.
それが一箇所にあり、しかもそれをおじい様にポンと貸し出せるような魔女。ただものじゃないね。
Yeah, because that would suggest that the witch held even more vast amounts of wealth, unless she just gave all of her wealth to one person. This is assuming, obviously, that she's just a regular person, like they're thinking she possibly might be.
私はよ、その10トンって数字ももはや嘘くさいと思ってるぜ。第一よ、じい様以外に見たやつはいないんだろ。仮に気前のいい魔女が実在して黄金を貸したとしても、それは10は10でも10キロぐらいの間違いじゃねえのか。10キロでも相当いい金額になるはずだぜ。
I guess stories do often get blown out of proportion over the years.
10キロの黄金っていくら？
Maria, who wasn't following the story and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask us a question. It was a question I also wanted answered right then. Whether it was 10 kilograms or 10 tons, it still felt like a huge amount, but I had no idea exactly how huge. Georgianiki folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold.
さあ、金も相場の影響を受けるから何とも言えないし、純度や鋳造先の信用によっても変わってくる。換金に手数料もかかるし。ただ希少金属であることは間違いなくて、このまま採掘が進めば人類はあと半世紀ほどで全てを掘り尽くしてしまうんじゃないかって憶測もある。 デタラメに言って1キロあたり200万円程度の価値はあるんじゃないかと思うね。
ひゅ私よ、10キロってのは今適当に言った控えめな数字なんだけどよ。それでも2000万円の価値があるってことになるじゃねえかよ。
おー、マリア体重28キロ。
ということはマリアちゃんと同じ重さの黄金ならその価値は5000万円を超えるって計算になるね。
そりゃたまげるな。10トンならいくらだ？
Yeah, that's the real question.
10キロで2000万が1000倍だから、はあ、200億円か。こりゃたまらねえや。
How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? We can only measure it relative to our own pocketbooks. Anyway, let's say that a person's wages over a lifetime are about 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for your company, and you're finally freed as you approach old age. Everything including retirement money might add up to about 200 million yen. In other words, that's the amount of money that will be made throughout a human's life. No, you could even call it the value of a life. So 100 times that sum is an unbelievable amount of money. If you work from age 20 to age 60, that's 40 years of work, so it's equal to 4,000 years of work wages. If you worked every day starting from the Jomon period, you'd only reach that number about now.
200億円ってすごい？
Yeah, we'll go with that, Maria.
ああ、すげえよ。マリアの大好きなショートケーキだったら多分一生かかっても食い切れないくらい買えるぜ。
You'd be incredibly fat though, Maria.
でも200億円という現金ならいざ知れず、それと同等の金塊がひとところにあるなんてとても現実的とは思えないね。さっきも言った通り黄金は非常に重くて財産をまとめておくにはちょっと便利とは思えないよ。ものすごい額面の有価証券とかものすごく価値のある宝石とかそういうものなら考えられなくもないけれど、戦時中の混乱期に自分の資産を持ち運べるよう全て宝石などに変えた人たちがいたのは有名な話だからね。でも黄金で資産を備蓄したというのはなかなか聞かない。
確かに重いけどよ、国際的に一番信用されてて価値も安定してるし意味はあるんじゃないのかな。証券とかだったら国が滅びちまったら紙切れになっちまうわけだし。
そういう考え方もあるね。でも 10kg のインゴット一つでも体感重量は相当のものだよ。聞いたことない？ 50kg の人間は背負えても 50kg の俵は担げないって。それだけの莫大な重量の金塊を個人が所有するリスクと手間は計り知れないね。
Yeah, but they don't necessarily need to carry all of the gold around with them at once. I mean, you don't carry all of your wealth on you all the time.
ってことはつまり200億円の札束がうなってるって話ならともかく200億円分の黄金が山積みになってるってのはちょいと現実味がないわけだな。
そういうことになるね。黄金伝説なんて響きはとても面白いんだけど、そもそも10トンの黄金という時点で少々無理があるね。
I don't know, I don't think it's impossible.
そうやってリズムで考えるとみるみる嘘くさくなっていくぜ。夢のない話さ。
でもそこは何しろあのおじいさまだからね。親切なお金持ちからの融資を大げさに吹聴して魔女から授かった10トンの黄金なんて例え方をしたのかもしれないよ。
That does sound like crazy old Kinzo.
10トンという数字も象徴的な感じがするしね。
つまり借りた金のありがたさは10トンの黄金に匹敵する価値があったっ ってなことだな。
じいさまに大金持ちの勇敢マダムが気前よく恵んでくれて、そのご婦人を魔女と呼んだってことじゃねえのか？
I see. Jessica's example isn't bad. Someone who generously lent a huge sum of money to grandfather when he still had no reputation might as well be called a witch. Furthermore, grandfather actually did use that money to build a vast amount of wealth later on. The fact that this person was so great at judging people might also justify calling her a witch. Also, since she went to the trouble of lending all that money, she might have enthusiastically overseen how it was spent. The decision to unexpectedly get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have been inspired by the witch herself. That might explain why he claimed to have received both wealth and honor from her.
なるほどな。ってことはつまり、この魔女様は後宮家復興のための資金を恵んでくださった復興の大恩人ってわけだ。となりゃ、じい様が感謝の気持ちを込めてこんだけでかい絵を描かせて掲げさせたってのも、なるほど、おかしい話じゃないのかもな。
Yeah, but doesn't the epitaph read, "My beloved Beatrice"? That would suggest he's more than grateful to her.
ひょっとするとよ、当の本人は見るからに魔女っぽいばあさんだったかもしれないぜ。
I don't know, from the portrait I'm guessing she doesn't look anything like an old granny.
案外、当の本人に会ってみたらこんなに美人じゃないかもしれねえな。
ありえるね。ベアトリーチェって名前はいかにも洋風だけど、僕たち一族の名前がみんな洋風であることを考えると、このベアトリーチェって名前も日本人名を無理やり洋風にアレンジしたものなのかもしれないよ。
Or maybe it's that this Beatrice had such an influence on his life that he then decided that he really liked Western things.
なるほどなるほど。この美人は絵の中にしかいないってわけだな。それじゃあの立派そうな胸は揉めそうにないぜ。鼻っから魔女なんておかしいんだよな。そんなのが地球上のどこにいるってんだ。
I laughed and made fun of the witch, trying to distinguish myself from the kid I was 6 years ago, who feared the witch of the forest, when Maria tugged on my sleeve. I could tell by how hard she pulled that she was a bit upset.
なんだよ、マリア。
Oh, this is going to be the occult thing, isn't it?
ベアトリーチェはいる。
Maria stared up at me. She had on her usual sour look, but I could tell she was angry by the colour of her eyes.
魔女いる。魔女はいる。
なんだよ、そりゃいるだろうよ。テレビをつけりゃアニメとかによ。
いる。魔女はいる。
I started getting impatient, not knowing why Maria was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and whispered,
バカだな。子供の夢打ち砕いてんじゃねえぜ。
It's basically like telling her that Santa isn't real.
マリアは魔女とかベアトリーチェとかも確かに存在するって信じてんだよ。
確かマリアちゃんは学校の文集に将来なりたいものは魔女って書いたんだっけ？
Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corners of her eyes. I see, to a girl who wants to become a witch in the future. The existence of Beatrice was proof that witches do exist in this world, and was therefore an image that she yearned after and admired.
魔女なのにバトラが信じない。
Well, she's really taking this hard.
いるよ、魔女は。お兄ちゃんは信じるよ。
Georgianiki kneeled down and hugged Maria's head. Watching this, Jessica poked my side. So that's what it is. It's like shouting that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. Exactly the example I gave. Good going, game. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to shatter kids' dreams.
悪かったぜ。別にマリアの夢にケチをつけたわけじゃねえんだ。謝るよ。ベアトリーチェはいるよな。今もこの島の森の中に住んでいて、夜な夜なこの屋敷で何をやってるのか覗き見しに来るんだろ。
Well, that's more than a bit creepy.
だから森には入っちゃいけない。夜はいつまでも暗い森を眺めていてはいけない。森の魔女ベアトリーチェに見つかってしまうかもしれないから。バサマがそう言ってたんだもんな。
本当にバトラは信じる？
おお、信じるぜ。ケチをつけて悪かったよ。ほら、仲直りしようぜ。
I stuck out my hand. Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand and we made up. Maria didn't grumble any more than that, so Georgianiki and Jessica were relieved. Okay guys, well, it's a bit short, but that seems like a good place to end the video while we're between scenes. If you guys have enjoyed, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. And until next time guys, goodbye!